I feel like I get really passionate about stuff, and then I just go really far down whatever rabbit hole.
Everyone points to how great Bad Bunny was doing the Canadian Destroyer.
Him and Damian Priest got nominated for an ESPY. I'm trying to think who to throw under the bus. Cody Rhodes. This ain't no make-believe.
Boom.
Open your eyes and see. No, get up.
Is this a Canadian tuxedo that you are gracing us with? Did you do this because I'm Canadian?
My wife's also Canadian.
I know.
So it's either for you or her.
Well, I'll take it.
It's for you. It's for you.
You look like a real star sitting here.
You know, actually, this is what I call my Macho Man outfit. Because you know that famous meme of his?
Yes.
Where he's sitting by the beach?
Yeah.
Wearing this Canadian tuxedo? This is kind of a modern day Macho Man.
Did you match Sheiky's glasses there on your shirt? Was that intentional? Because look at that.
And the shoes has like some orange. Like I got like I'll put a lot of thought in. Oh, you can't really see.
Yeah, there you go. Those
orange.
are great shoes.
Off-whites.
Really good shoes.
I got a guy. You got a guy?
I don't have a guy.
You got to get a guy.
I need a sneaker guy.
You got to get a guy.
I got to get a guy. Could you get me the guy?
I could get you my guy.
You could be the guy who gets me the guy?
I could be the guy that gets you the guy, yeah. So then you can have gotten a guy.
One of my all-time favorite moments on my YouTube channel happened in your backyard about 5 years ago.
I remember.
That first interview that we did.
I also remember the springboard. Like I was legitimately so surprised. Like I've shown like dozens of people how to do a springboard, and almost everyone eats it. And I could have swore you were going to eat it.
The funniest part about that clip is as you're setting it up, you're like, all right, well, just do this springboard here. All you got to do is this. It's so easy. And then I'm like legitimately scared I'm going to fall on my face. And I hit it, and you're like, ho, I was not expecting that.
You hit a perfect springboard.
What were you expecting?
Well, I thought that you were going to eat it and fall on your face, but in a funny way, not get injured. Or botch it a little bit.
What would have happened if I fell on my face and broke my nose in your backyard, or broke my neck in your backyard?
I mean, Kira would have had to dig a hole and bury it.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. It wouldn't have been funny then, because you don't want people to get hurt. You know what I mean?
I perfectly landed it. I surprised even myself.
You had both feet on the top rope at the same time and landed. You had soft knees.
That was
it exceeded expectations.
That was my first and last springboard.
Well, it's on tape.
That's it.
It's immortal now. You never have to do it again.
I can't believe you got rid of that wrestling ring.
It was one of my wedding vows.
Are you serious?
Yeah. When I said I promise, now that we're married, to not have a wrestling ring in the backyard anymore, and to not have any more professional wrestler roommates. And Super Panda and Luchasaurus were in the second row of the wedding, and they both stood up and were like, "Hey, what the hell? Why didn't you say something to us first?"
So you traded the pro wrestler roommates for a pro wrestler wife.
Yes.
That seems like a pretty good trade.
Yeah. I mean, she technically was a pro wrestler roommate prior to becoming a pro wrestler wife. Is she gonna see this?
You tell me.
Hey, I love you, babe.
She's been on the channel before.
Yeah,
I don't know if she watches it.
No, I'm sure she'll see it. Yeah.
Yeah. We love you. Yeah.
Yep.
You're great.
Of course, she's not going to see it if we're saying nice things.
No. So we got to she's the worst. Yeah.
Can you believe this?
Yeah.
Can you believe what he's saying about you? Oh, my God.
Canadians are the worst. I hear she's loca.
Yeah, she is. Nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a very nice guy. I know you're Canadian also.
Right.
You can't really be human without flaws. And being from Canada.
Oh, that's the flaw?
Yeah.
That's the flaw.
That's the inside joke I'm going for.
Oh, man.
It's funny. When we met, it was a flaw. And now it's kind of my escape plan.
To go to Canada?
In case America goes to hell in a handbasket.
Oh, yeah. I guess you could just
head up north.
She's a Canadian citizen still?
Yeah.
Me too.
She's going to become a dual citizen.
Oh. Well, yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, if you can have both.
No, she's not going to relinquish.
Yeah.
She's she could potentially be a triple citizen, a tri-citizen. Is that it?
What's the other one?
Swiss.
Wow.
Her dad is a Swiss citizen.
Does she have a Swiss passport?
No, but she likes Swiss cheese.
Well, I think that's all it takes.
I'm sure that's all it takes.
That's
to be
probably
a Swiss citizen.
That's probably
a love of cheese with
all
holes
it
in it.
takes.
Yeah. Okay.
This interview is going.
All right. So we're off to a great start.
This is amazing. Canadian tuxedos and Swiss cheese.
Yep. Man, that's going to be the title of my autobiography.
How many people recognize you in LA from your time on Miz and Mrs?
I will not lie. I have been recognized a few times specifically for Miz and Mrs. and by people who have no idea about wrestling or anything else.
That's so funny.
That's the guy that, you're the Mrs. friend from the Miz and Mrs.
You're the
oh,
Mrs.
man, look, hey, can I have a picture? It's the Mrs. friend.
And they've never seen you wrestle. They don't know anything about WWE.
No, they just watch the reality show.
Dude, that's crazy.
Most people are aware of wrestling that watch Miz and Mrs., but a few times they've been completely oblivious.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, right? It's funny almost.
So how does it work when you're going to be on an episode of Miz and Mrs? Does Mike call you up and go, John, are you in town?
Pretty much. It's not that different from how it works out. Like usually he will say, "Are you gonna be in town?"
Okay,
and then like schedule a date, and then also like there's kind of a frame for the episodes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like here's what's going on in my life. I'm getting a vasectomy, and I'm gonna have a bunch of people over, and we're all gonna like roast my nuts. You don't cut off the nuts for a vasectomy, by the way. I didn't realize that. That's not what happens.
It's not like the surgery they do to dogs.
It's not a castration or like you don't get neutered.
Yeah.
There's like little tubes that humans have that you can tie.
The vas deferens, I believe. Yeah.
That's why it's his show.
It's Dr. Van Vliet to you.
Thanks, doctor. Yes, those are tied.
But so you made a bunch of jokes about the nuts being removed?
Yeah, but I made more jokes about Ziggler because it was more fun to make fun of him.
Oh, yeah.
He was there.
He's the
and
real...
Seacrest. Seacrest was there. I just made fun of Ryan, not Seacrest, the other Ryan. Cabrera.
Oh. How do you mix up Ryan Cabrera and Ryan Seacrest?
I was boxing earlier. I got punched in the head a lot.
Oh.
We'll talk about that later.
I mean, we're going to talk about that right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're a celebrity boxer now.
Dude, I've been waking up in the morning and fighting YouTubers.
That's crazy.
Like, sometimes I go to Highland Park and fight Aaron from Game Grumps in his driveway on Sunday mornings, and sometimes on Monday mornings. And Alex Wasabi, Nathan Barnett is a friend of mine who got me into this whole thing. Like for Creator Clash 1, I was in his corner. And
yeah, he's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he went viral for Joe Rogan thinking that there was a dad beating up his son. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see
Everybody
that.
saw it.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be in his corner, but also fighting on the card of Creator Clash 2.
Man, did you ever think you'd be a boxer?
No.
Like, you're so athletic with everything that you do. So I imagine you're going to crush it as a boxer too.
I think I've got a lot of work to do, but ultimately, yes. When I asked Josh Burnett to train me, he said, yeah, sure, John, but just so you know, boxing is your worst thing.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, I know. I know boxing is my worst thing. I've spent the least time on it.
But you got
it's
speed.
a very specific art form.
You got a lot of speed, though.
Yeah.
You have a ton of like natural athleticism.
And confidence.
You're not short on confidence.
So much confidence, I might have too much. No.
So you're fighting the guy from Epic Mealtime.
Yes.
Who's going to win?
The people in attendance. I think if you go into a fight and you don't think you're going to win, you should probably just call in sick and not go up. I'm planning on winning. If we can bet on this fight, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm giving up some size. Harley is 6'6". He started training at 270. He's already cut quite a bit. He's looking in shape. He's down to 255, it looks like.
But what do you normally weigh in at?
210.
Oh, geez.
210. And I'm an honest 6. Like, I'm like 6 feet with no shoes. I'm the height that most actors in Hollywood say they are. And then when you stand next to them, you're like, no, you're 5'10".
There's a photo. So I interviewed Tom Cruise in Paris, the red carpet, Eiffel Tower's behind us, and we're looking at each other eye to eye. And I am an honest 5'10".
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I didn't realize how short you were. How are you standing eye to eye with Tom Cruise? But when you look down at his shoes, you can see the answer as to why he's standing eye to eye with me.
I need to get some Tom Cruise shoes. I wonder if they have Tom Cruise boxing shoes.
I bet they do.
Because then I could be 6'6".
You could be.
And it would probably really like mess Harley up. He's been training to punch down, and then suddenly he's going to have to look up.
You still won't have the reach, though. He's got to have the reach advantage.
I bet you that. Yeah, I don't know. True.
So what's the allure of doing a boxing match like this?
Money. You know, the competitive spirit runs deep in me, and yeah, money. Honestly, like there is that, but I was a competitive wrestler before I got into pro wrestling. I wrestled in high school and college, and it's very different from professional wrestling because it's just you versus one other person, and at some level, it's a test of wills. And it just doesn't start when you're out there in amateur wrestling or in boxing when the bell rings. The test of wills begins as you start preparing for the fight. And if there are two evenly matched fighters, a lot of times it's the person that's tougher that wins. It would be impossible for me to catch up with a career-long professional boxer at this point.
Sure.
Just the same as it would be impossible for a professional boxer to catch up with my ability in professional wrestling.
Of course,
been doing it for 20 years. You can't make up that difference in a year or 6 months. But it excites me to be back in a competitive environment.
I'm very curious to see what happens here because if you have a really great showing, this could be the start of something for you.
I mean, it could be great for me. It could be really bad for like the Jake Pauls, the Logan Pauls, the KSIs, those guys. I mean, the overnight tough guys, let's say, of YouTube.
I feel like Jake Paul's the real deal, though.
Just ask him. He'll tell you he's the real deal.
That is true.
Sure. But he got famous from YouTube, but not like you, because you got big from your own channel, right?
Sure, yeah.
He had a famous brother. It wasn't even his channel. He latched onto his brother. His brother boxed. Now, I'm gonna box. He's just a follower, Jake Paul. Come on.
Wow, I see what you're setting up here.
I mean, if he watches this, Jake Paul, you know where to find me. If you get tired and you want to take a nap in the boxing ring sometime.
Oh. Are you worried at all that you could have like that Nate Robinson highlight reel knockout that happens to you?
No. Well, here's why. First of all, like the confidence, like I was saying, is a little
very high.
And second of all, if you're worried about knockouts, from what I've learned, you're easier to knock out. If you're worried about getting hit and you're concerned about defense, and your defense is not like Floyd Mayweather, which mine is not. Most beginning boxers are not world class.
He's the best defensive boxer ever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you're not throwing, then it's a lot easier to throw punches at you. Sometimes offense is the best defense, defense is the best offense. So if you're tentative, you're going to get opened up like a can of soup.
Is there any worry, though, that like you've been pulling punches for 20 years and now you have to connect on every punch? Is it like, does that change your boxing game or does that change your wrestling game?
I feel bad about whoever has to wrestle me next.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I think like step one is realizing the difference between all these specific martial arts, performance arts, pro wrestling, boxing, martial arts, stunt fighting, stunt choreography, Wing Chun, Kung Fu, Muay Thai. Like I've dabbled in all these things, and switching back and forth can be done if you understand what the difference is and why. I think that boxing is something that would elevate a ton of professional wrestlers' fight IQ and make their wrestling more realistic. Because punching is something in wrestling that took me, like, I couldn't throw a good punch for 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
Because I just was never a striker. I was a collegiate wrestler and a professional wrestler, and striking is its own game. And for some reason, like, you know what? Because I did a lot more, I did traditional wushu and capoeira, which is more heavy with kicks. And so my kicking was always better than punching.
It's like capoeira is like kicking, and it's like dancing almost.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I feel it's really, there's a lot of things that are really well suited to professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Because capoeira is like specifically performative because it was originally derived to fool people into thinking they were watching dancing instead of fight training. Because the originators in Brazil wanted to camouflage their fight training so people didn't know what they were doing.
Wow. So you're doing this alongside the pro wrestling that you're doing right now.
Yeah. So I'm still wrestling like a full-time schedule and training, fighting YouTubers in their driveway. 2023.
But it's also that time of year where, look, anything can happen in pro wrestling. I feel like at some point your music could hit at the Royal Rumble and we'd be like, of course John Morrison's back.
You know, that wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, imagine how cool that would be for WWE.
You've got some unfinished business.
Where is the Rumble going to be? Is it going to be
San
in Saudi
Antonio.
Arabia?
Oh, wow. Well, now you're not going back.
Never say never. Come on.
You've got some unfinished business there.
Yeah. I have a ton of unfinished business. Unfinished business with my frenemy, The Miz, and with a ton of people on the roster. Like, in the business of professional wrestling, if you look at the rosters of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Rampage, Dynamite, Impact, MLW, Ring of Honor, NWA, I have personal history and issues with everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people on every one of those rosters.
For sure.
So it would be great to go back to WWE. It'd be great to go to any one of those rosters because there's a ton of unfinished business, a ton of new matchups, and mostly because I like wrestling.
And you're very good at it.
It's a lot cooler to have someone else say you're good at wrestling than to say it yourself.
When you did get released from WWE, you had survived so many rounds of the pandemic cuts.
Yeah.
Every time that they were happening, were you like, all right, well, it's going to happen this time. Oh my God, we're safe. It's going to happen this time. Oh my God, we're safe.
No, I for some reason, like, I feel like I had like a good vibe in my head of where I stood, and I didn't really think I was getting released until the end when I like realized like I was trying to do a character that had been convoluted and kind of like tweaked until it kind of became impossible. And then I started thinking like, I wouldn't be surprised if I get released. And it happened.
I just feel like what you and Miz had going there was building to something. And then
It was, you know, and
ended.
it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that happens with World Wrestling Entertainment or, you know, any wrestling organization in general. And it would be great to go back there and pick that up. But if that doesn't happen, you know what? Like, it's not the end of the world for me. It sucked for Miz, you know, he could use the help.
Just ask him. He's really good at wrestling too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is. No joke. He's really, like, elevated
is.
himself, like, and become a star, you know?
He's the most underrated person on the WWE roster, in my opinion. And I think that he was such a great WWE champion and deserves another run as he's, you know, getting into the latter part of his career now.
I think if you look at the roster, like, and think about like all the baby faces, all the good guys, and think about who would you want to wrestle if you were in that spot? Like the most hated person, like the person that's the best at riling up the crowd, that would be the most satisfying for people to see you beat the crap out of. It really would be him. And that's to his credit, because it's not an accident or a mistake. It's him being self-aware and doubling down on his what makes him the shiniest, as I like to say.
So what do you think is his shiniest quality?
his authenticity, and he is a product of professional wrestling like we all are, plus reality TV and his environment. And he had to fight for what he got and fight for attention on reality shows, which if you don't know him and are in large groups can come off as abrasive. And I think that is shiny. It's not necessarily like something that you would like want your kid to be or teach someone. But in his case, it's him realizing what he has and emphasizing it, like turning the volume up on his authentic self, I think is something that tons of people don't do. Like they want to be liked or good guys. Like I'm trying to think who to throw under the bus. Cody Rhodes. He's got a star quality. He could have turned up the annoyingness and volume on himself and been the top heel of AEW. But he didn't, because he wanted to be loved, liked.
Yeah, there was a part there where he was getting booed.
Oh my God.
He could have leaned into it.
And what people don't understand is the more you're disliked, the more you're going to be liked.
Yeah.
Or the more you're liked, the more you can be disliked.
That's interesting.
Because the more you get someone to feel one way or the other about you, you can flip it back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, the opposite of love is hate. It's not apathy. You know what I mean? If people are quiet, they don't love you or hate you. You can't make them one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, if the crowd's doing nothing, then you've got a real problem.
Yeah, that's not pro wrestling. The whole point is to get the crowd involved.
To do something.
And make them feel.
Is Miz for sure the most successful person to come out of Tough Enough?
Man. You know, I was on Tough Enough, right?
You're the most successful Tough Enough champion, hands down, bar none.
I think so.
Yeah, but
that question.
So I think you're the most successful Tough Enough champion.
You don't have to reframe the question.
He's the most successful Tough Enough contestant.
He's definitely the most successful to come out of Tough Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the irony is, if he was champion, I don't know if it would have worked out for him the way that it did.
And that's so interesting, yeah.
Because look at Daniel Puder, like, and what happened to him. I mean, you know, he was on, I think it was the $250,000 Tough Enough.
Yep.
And I was still at OVW the day that Puder arrived, and he must have been driving like a $90,000 like Mercedes, and he like pulled up right in front, and I remember sitting there and thinking like, wow, no one's going to be angry at me for winning Tough Enough, because all these guys are on contract. Some of them are making $300 a week.
Yeah. And
some of them are not even on contract. They're on paper. They're just showing up trying to get jobs, and they're working part-time moving furniture, or they're 9 to 5. And then after 10 years in the business, imagine watching some kid roll up in a $90,000 car that he just won.
He told me he never got $250,000.
I think he's an exaggerator. I think that they prorated his contract over years. There was no lump sum.
I thought it was supposed to be the first year $250,000 and then 3 additional optional years at $250,000. Yeah, so $250,000 then.
I think that they like did like some funny like
I think so too.
Deal where it wasn't like a $250,000 a year thing.
Yeah,
it was $250,000 total.
Oh, that's not $1 million at all.
No. But was it $1 million Tough Enough?
$1 million Tough Enough challenge. Yeah, that was what it's called. Yeah.
Well, he had enough for that Mercedes.
Or at least for the payments for the Mercedes.
True.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if he got the million or not. Showing up in that car made everyone think that he did.
Yeah, and probably made everyone hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't. Like, I thought he was like a nice dude. A little annoying because he was clearly politicking so hard with everybody that we had this thing called the overmeter at OVW. You know what overness is, I'm assuming, right?
Sure, yeah.
So say you're sitting in the stands at a Raw, and there's Puder by the ring, and Arn Anderson walks out. Arn's over. So the overmeter goes off. Beep, 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 as Puder walks over to Arn. But What happens if the Undertaker walks out?
Oh. Beep, 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 beep.
There he goes. Or Vince McMahon. He would run in circles depending on who was the most over.
That's so interesting.
That's maybe that's his legacy.
Maybe it is.
Inventing the overmeter.
His legacy.
No, he did it.
His legacy is that Kurt Angle moment.
He had him in a Kimura. We all saw it.
He absolutely had him in a Kimura, and he wasn't pinned, but Jimmy Corderas was quick on his feet. 1, 2, 3,
and told him to pin himself. Like, I think the Corderas got a buzz in his ear and said, "God damn it, tell that kid to pin himself. Holy crap, what's happening?"
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like you look incredible, 43. What's the secret? Tell us.
It's blood, sweat, and tanner. Mostly tanner, spray tan.
Look good. It's a good tan. Gotta get some. Look how white I look compared to you.
Oh, yeah. I knew I was coming on here, so I figured I'd look radioactive.
No, on camera, it looks perfect. In real life,
it's funny. I remember Vince was always really big on tan. And there was a while where I was wrestling Sheamus, and I'd come back and he'd be like, "God damn it, you look fantastic." And I looked exactly the same, and I wrestled Truth the next week, and he's like, "Morrison, come here. You look like shit. Get a tan, God damn it. You can't sell pale." And I looked the same, and I was like, I literally wrestled the whitest guy on the roster last week, and Truth, who's very black.
Sure.
And of course, I'm not going to look that tan.
What's the secret? Is it a spray bottle? Do you do it yourself or do you go to a place?
I get all right. So I have a couple secrets. First of all, if you're staying in a hotel, it's the sprays. If you're going to tan yourself in your own house, you don't want to get that.
You don't want to ruin the sheets.
What are we cussing on this thing or not?
Absolutely. It's the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to spray in your own house, you don't want to get that shit all over the place. You know what I mean? And also no one cares how tan your lungs are. So you don't want to breathe it in because even if you got an MRI of your lungs or something, it's not going to impress everyone if they're tan. So if you're staying at hotels, go outside your hotel room in the hallway and spray tan out there so it doesn't get in the room and you don't breathe it in. Also, when you do that, look out for fire alarms because I've set them off twice.
No way.
Yeah, the aerosol cans, if you're under the sensor, will set off the fire alarm. Not good, especially if people come out and they see you in your underwear, tanning. If you're going to do it at your house, you can do the foaming mousse things.
You don't feel bad about leaving yellow stains on the sheets in the hotel?
That's what they're for. Right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I don't feel bad at all because you would assume that they would wash them.
Does it wash out? You're like, I don't know. I've already checked out.
I'm
Who cares?
sure they bleach them.
I
mean, hotels are so gross.
So gross.
I would hope that they put the sheets every night, no matter whether they're tanner or not, into a vat of bleach and clean them.
I would hope so.
Right?
Okay, so it's just tanner. Great.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep this in mind because I've got that goal. I think I told you about this. Best shape of my life, May 19th of this year, my 40th birthday. So you're saying keep doing what I'm doing with eating and working out, but tons of fake tanner.
Oh, yeah. I think you need to tan on May 17th and
then let it kind of sink in.
Yeah. And that way.
Seep in.
Right. Exactly. That way you'll have you'll be radioactive on the 18th and fade a little bit into a perfect natural glow on the 19th. For the 40th birthday TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Everyone points to how great Bad Bunny was doing the Canadian Destroyer, WrestleMania 37. Very few people talk about your role in doing that move and making him look so good.
Him and Damian Priest got nominated for an ESPY for the Canadian Destroyer. I feel like I don't want to take anything away from Bad Bunny because he came in so humble and with so much respect and was such a big star and worked so hard on learning the business and how to put on an entertaining match that there are a lot of celebrities or people adjacent to wrestling that I could take a Canadian Destroyer from. but I probably wouldn't.
He has set the bar so high for celebrity wrestling
argued
matches.
with people about that. Like, what are you doing? And like, I really feel like he earned it. And I have so much respect for that guy. Like I agree. Set the bar.
Like so high. Cause every other celebrity match they've had at WrestleMania, you kind of like roll your eyes and you go, I don't want to specifically name names here, but you go, really?
Who? I'm just kidding.
Certain,
no, I'm just
certain
kidding.
Jersey Shore member. And like,
hey, she was on my team.
I know, but the handspring back elbow actually was really.
I showed her that.
You did?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
She was a gymnast.
I can't believe I didn't mean to bury Snooki here.
I know. I'm
just saying Bad Bunny set the bar so high.
No, I know. It's funny. I really like Snooki. I mean, do you know how tan she is? Talking about Tanner.
Yeah, bringing that right back around. Did you choreograph the entire match with Bad Bunny? Is that why it looks so seamless?
No. I put in a few things, but Adam Pearce, Brian Kendrick, Benny, Bad Bunny himself was there working with Drew Gulak at the Performance Center. There was a lot of people that put in a lot of work on that.
But I would imagine that's not a match you're calling in the ring. That's a match where you're going, after this happens, then this happens.
I would have been a lot more present, but I went to the Performance Center once to train with him. Then the following episode of Raw, I partially tore my MCL. And like it was like touch and go for a while. Like it was almost going to be Bad Bunny Miz in a singles. Then a tag. I didn't know if I was going to be cleared. People were nervous about me doing much in the match. And I ended up just doing it. Whether I was cleared or not. You know what I mean?
What was the thing that impressed you the most about Bad Bunny?
His pacing. And I feel like for me, it took a long time to be comfortable with doing nothing and hearing the crowd. And I think because he's a performer and been in front of so many crowds, that came a lot easier and more natural to him than it did to me. It took me a long time to figure that out. I think it takes a lot of people a very long time to slow down and be comfortable and relaxed. And he got that very fast.
You want to talk about a surprise Royal Rumble entrant? Bad Bunny would be a real good one.
Yeah.
And you.
I could be Good Bunny.
Good Bunny and Bad Bunny?
Good Bunny, Bad Bunny? Man.
What do you think of Logan Paul, speaking of celebrities that are in WWE? He's 3 matches in as we sit here right now.
Here's what I think of Logan Paul. Man, remember when he had that match and he said he completely blew out his knee? All 3 ligaments, his ACL, PCL, MCL, and then come to find out, like, he just kind of had a sore knee. Oh, man, poor guy. I feel like he's had 3 matches. He's acting like, and a lot of people are acting like he's God's gift. And if he wanted to have, I've had close to 4,000 matches, and I've torn both knees for real, like no MCL, partially torn, scope, partial ACL. If he wants to stay in the business and do it for real, why doesn't he talk about wrestling then? Because right now, I think he's getting a lot of help from the best minds in the business and pretending like he's doing more of it than he is. Because without the help of the people surrounding, I think Logan Paul falls flat on his face.
So you're saying, like, if Logan Paul were to go to a wrestling school and then have 3 matches on the independents, they wouldn't look that good?
Not even close. I think Logan Paul is an extremely gifted athlete.
100%.
And his potential to become a phenomenal wrestler is 100% there. Mm-hmm. What he did, though, is indicative of that. Not to say that he has those skills now. He could obtain them through years of work. But hopefully, I don't know him well enough to know if he knows that he doesn't or if he believes his own hype. It'd be interesting.
I don't know if anybody's ever had their first 3 WWE matches look as good as his first 3 WWE matches.
Don't know if anyone's had their first WWE matches rehearsed as much as he's rehearsed his 3 matches either. Especially like working one-on-one with Shawn Michaels. Who in the business can say that they worked for a month on one match with Shawn Michaels before they had that match?
Yeah, if you're going to learn from somebody, that's a pretty good person to learn from.
Yeah, I mean, it's no wonder it was a great match.
Yeah.
He's working with one of the, not just best minds, best in-ring technicians and performers in the history of the business individually for a month for one match.
Are we talking about the Roman match or the Miz match?
That was the Roman match, I believe.
I mean, they've all been really good.
Yeah.
Miz also has this incredible, uncanny ability to make everybody that he works with look like $1 million.
Miz, like when we were talking previously about him being underrated, completely underrated. His pacing and way to engage the crowd makes the job of his opponents much easier.
I want to talk specifically about some of your like crazy moments.
Oh, I got an idea first.
Okay.
Logan Paul versus Johnny Drip Drip in the wrestling ring. Who do you think wins?
What would make the most sense?
Logan Paul. Come on.
Yeah, it would probably make sense for Logan to win.
Logan Paul versus me in boxing, though.
Ooh.
It's ironic.
He went the distance with Floyd
Johnny
Mayweather.
Drip Drip in like one segment. But if it was boxing, I don't know.
He's probably had more experience in boxing than you.
Much more.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. I think he's done with boxing though, isn't he?
Maybe.
Who wins if it's you and Jake Paul?
Well, I think I'd knock out Logan in like a couple rounds. Jake Paul, he's just a little guy. I don't know.
He has some real hands though.
Oh yeah, but he's just like a little small guy. He's a very cute fighter.
Oh man.
Jake Paul. If I could put like a little bow tie on him and sit him on my couch next to the dogs, I'd pet him.
Your dogs are very small and cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be a very good pet, Jake. But as a boxer, I don't know. Tommy Fury would knock him out in a heartbeat.
Sounds like that's going to happen.
I hope so.
I would still take Jake Paul in that fight.
If that doesn't happen, I'll knock out Jake Paul.
It's crazy to me how many people think those fights are rigged. Like crazy.
They're not rigged.
Of course they're not rigged. If they're rigged, there's a lot of people that are in on this extremely illegal activity.
Right. I mean,
They're not rigged.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why people think they're rigged.
Well, you know exactly why people think these fights are rigged, because they don't want Jake Paul to win. And Jake Paul not only keeps winning, but he keeps knocking people out.
He's choosing his opponents. That's 100% true. Look at
Well, he's choosing money fights.
Yeah, but he's choosing money fights he thinks he can win.
Of course.
Like Tyrone Woodley, I actually thought Tyrone Woodley was going to knock him out.
I thought so for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But when on paper you look like Woodley's background is mostly wrestling.
Yeah.
Collegiate wrestling.
Yeah.
And obviously MMA, which is got striking, but so much of his toolkit, Woodley's, is submissions, taking a guy down. It doesn't have any like overlap with boxing whatsoever.
That was such a crisp knockout.
I know.
So crisp.
Yeah. But like that was Jake Paul Woodley too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrone Woodley took that on very short notice also.
They didn't need to have a rematch.
Well, he just like filled in, right? Was Jake Paul supposed to fight
Yes.
Fury?
He was,
and he couldn't get into the country
Yeah.
because of the visa issue.
and like basically in the ring after the first fight with Woodley was like, let's run it back right now. And Jake's like, we already did this. Like, I think we're good.
Yeah.
And then they had that stupid thing of like, all right, if you tattoo my name on your body, I love Jake Paul, then we'll do a rematch. He's like, done. And then we got the rematch, which I wasn't that excited about, but then the knockout made it go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even watch that one live because I was more excited. I'd be excited to watch Tommy Jake Paul. Now I watch me versus Jake Paul.
Well, here's the thing: if you win your celebrity boxing debut,
I'm just looking past Harley, this 6'6" man in Montreal who's been training his ass off. weighing 270 pounds that I'm going to fight. Yeah.
If you win that fight, there's a real good chance you could be on a Jake Paul undercard. Then you win that. Maybe.
I mean, there's also like the best YouTube boxer of all of them is KSI. He beat Logan Paul.
Way back.
Yeah. Like what, 2 years ago?
Who did he just knock out? KSI.
FaZe Temper.
What?
So, YouTube boxing, all the boxers go by their handles. So he knocked out FaZe Temper. At FaZe Temper.
Oh, okay.
Is the guy's
What's
name.
your at?
I have to think of it now that I'm a YouTube boxer.
Johnny something, right?
I was going to go Johnny YouTube boxer.
That seems long.
I know. It's overly long, which is kind of funny.
But you got so many
specific.
so many Johns and Johnnies to choose from.
I mean, Johnny Boxer. I kind of like Johnny's Gonna Kill You.
It's really long too. How are you going to chant that?
Johnny's gonna kill you.
You
like
proved me wrong.
chant.
You proved me wrong. I remember when you had originally told me like John Hennigan's a great name. You just can't chant it.
Really? Yeah.
It's true. Because you can chant all your other ones.
Yeah.
Johnny Nitro.
Do.
Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
Johnny Impact. Johnny Elite.
Right?
Yeah.
Johnny Rampage.
Johnny Boxing. Were you upset when Johnny Gargano took Johnny Wrestling?
I'd wrestle him for it.
You know why he did that,
Gargano?
right?
Me and you.
You know why he did that, right?
Because he's smart.
Well, yeah, obviously.
No,
He's
why?
Great. He took that name when Johnny Football, when Johnny Manziel,
Baseball, right? Or Johnny Football?
when Johnny Manziel got
yeah.
drafted to the Browns, and he's a Cleveland guy, Johnny Gargano. So he's like, I'm Johnny Wrestling. I always have been.
I know. And he is the best boxer to come out of Cleveland by far. Just ask the Mrs. Dad. He'll tell you.
The best boxer to come out of Cleveland?
Wrestler.
Johnny Wrestling is?
Yeah.
Wait, the Mrs. Dad would say Johnny Gargano's the best?
Yes.
Over the Miz?
And Ziggler. To me and Ziggler and the Miz in the car.
No.
Oh yeah, Johnny Gargano. I'm telling you, he's a Cleveland boy. He's the best. I see it on the dirt sheets. I'm telling you, Michael, he's the best guy from Cleveland.
That's a great George.
Like 100%. That's what he would say.
That's shocking.
He also will say that Gargano's father is a crook that owes him money over tickets to a Christmas party that he had in Cleveland 25 years ago.
You know,
We don't have to go down that road. I'm not making that up, but it's a very strange story.
when you debuted in AEW and Johnny Elite came up on the screen, you know how many people thought Johnny Gargano was coming out?
Oof. Maybe that helped with the pop.
I mean, you got a big pop,
Yeah, because people thought it was Gargano.
but then they saw you and went, Johnny Elite.
Yeah, all right. A courtesy pop. That's nice.
No, that's
I know.
not it.
I'm just kidding.
Come on.
I like Johnny Gargano. I would wrestle him for the name Johnny Wrestling, though.
That'd be a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny Boxing.
I like Johnny Boxing.
It's pretty good.
I like Johnny YouTube Boxer because you're right. It's so long. It's just kind of stupid.
That's too long.
But it's like overly long on purpose because it's dumb.
Why don't you just be John Hennigan?
I should have been John Hennigan when I started.
Was that ever an option?
No, when I started, like it was at a time when WWE was adamant about everyone having a new name so they could own it. They wouldn't say that part, but that was it.
Did you say to them, like, what about that Kurt Angle guy over there? Or did you say, what about that John Cena guy over there?
But you see, when you win a reality show and you show up,
What about that Randy Orton guy over there?
who's he ever beat?
Yeah, that's right.
No, I was just trying to get onto Raw or SmackDown from developmental before I got fired. I didn't think to say,
Like, they're giving me a name?
yeah,
Sounds great.
I'll be Johnny whatever.
Johnny Nitro? Perfect.
I'll take it.
Although there was a real big shift when you went from Johnny Nitro to John Morrison in your ECW time.
Yeah.
That was a big step up for you.
It definitely was. And literally, Vince, I don't know if we'll admit this or not, but did not like Nitro, I don't think, because it reminded him of WCW.
Oh, like too soon.
Yeah, and like it's always going to be too soon.
Yeah.
Like because he asked me to change my name 3 times. The third time was when I won the ECW title, and I didn't say no that time because I was like, all right, I'm not going to fight this anymore.
The fact that you said no to Vince the first 2 times, that's pretty crazy.
I thought about it too. I was like, what do I say to this guy? Like, I like Nitro. I don't want to confuse people. I should have just said yes the first time.
How do you say no to Vince?
You just say you'll think about it and then hope he forgets. And sometimes he does.
So how'd you come up with Morrison?
He said, you got to change your name. You got to have a champion's name if you're going to be a champion. Make a list of names. Write down 10 names. And then like an hour later, I had like a list of all these names. Morrison was off Jim Morrison from the Doors, but I had like Brando Morrison, Johnny Brando, Johnny Blaze Morrison. Like Blaze is already copywritten, but a bunch of stuff. And he like looked at this list that I'd spent an hour like Googling names and like meanings and like different like celebrities like James Dean and making this list. And he just looked at it and was like, John Morrison. Like that was it.
Did he ever like put together that you kind of look like John Morrison or Jim Morrison?
I don't know.
Did you put that together yourself?
Oh, that's why I picked
it. Okay.
Like, Jim Morrison.
You could have just been a Doors fan.
Well, I was. I mean, he was, like, but also like he went to UCLA. He was a film major. I was a film major. I liked their music. The look was like similar. It became more similar when I started flat ironing my hair like him.
So Johnny Elite goes to AEW. You wrestled 3 matches there.
Yes.
What happened? Why wasn't it more?
I think that the roster got scared. No, I don't know. I'd never discussed with Tony anything more than one-offs. I was open and am open. I think that roster is like just jam-packed with talent. And you never know in wrestling what could happen.
I think there's a lot of people on that roster you could have some really great matches with.
100%. I mean, I want to start naming names because you ever name names and then realize, oh, I named 2 names. I'm going to name like 5 names. Now 5, and I'm going to forget somebody. I got to name everybody.
That's the worst thing because you start to name names and people go, oh, I can't believe they didn't name so-and-so. Like,
right.
Well, yeah, of course I meant that person.
Yeah, but there's like 100, over 100 people on the roster.
Yeah.
And I would name at least half or more.
Yeah. You could have a great match with all 100 of those people.
Yeah.
You really could.
Do you want to name them?
Do I want to name them?
I'm just kidding. 100 names. 100.
Wonder how far we could get here.
We could get pretty far, but we would for sure forget like 20.
And then everyone
would. I can't believe you didn't name Pac or Phoenix.
Oh, you're already doing it.
No, but I did it in like a double negative context.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay, I'm going to circle back to what I was going to bring up earlier. I want to talk about some of your most insane moments in your career. We're going to start with the Elimination Chamber, climbing up to the ceiling and doing a splash on a Sheamus from there. Where does that idea come from?
I had that idea years prior when I started watching the Elimination Chamber because you start thinking, what can you do, or I do at least when I watch matches like that. And literally I thought maybe I could Vega someone. By that I mean like Vega from Street Fighter 2, where he would climb up and just kind of jump back and like splash people. And I was like really pumped about doing that. And then when I got into the chamber, I like climbed up there and realized it is really high. And those chambers at that time were way less forgiving than the chambers are currently. Like, and for some reason, like the steel was like real steel and it didn't make much noise. So like when you fall on it, like this is outside the ring. I fell inside the ring for this specific move. But when you fall on the steel outside the ring back then, the crowd would be like, oh, but it didn't make a loud noise. It just hurt.
That looked like it hurt, that spot.
Yeah.
What's the thing you've done in your career that's hurt the most, that maybe didn't look like it hurt the most?
Man. Injuries aside, because those are easy ones. You know, the Falls Count Anywhere match versus Miz, I hit a Starship Pain to the outside through a table, and it looked like I landed perfectly flat, but I didn't. I somehow landed like slightly knees first, and like I did a really minor like scorpion. So I felt like I hurt my back and knocked the wind out of myself at the same time, and then like could barely get up. Like I think the next thing was his finish, but I barely like did not want to stand up and take another move.
I would never think that'd be one of them.
Yeah, it looks really clean, like nothing.
Yeah.
But I remember in that moment thinking like, oh, did I do this? Why? Why did I just not do something easy?
You know, Kofi recently credited you for his Rumble save spots.
That's very nice of him. Kofi is a creative, like genius, and one of my favorite people to work inside the ring. And if I could inspire him, then that feels great. But he thought of those spots himself too.
But I guess he was inspired by seeing your spot.
Yeah.
You know, the Spider-Man jump, which was so cool. And then he went, oh, well, Morrison's not here for this year's Rumble, so I'm going to do something now.
Man, that's nice of him. I was really stoked about that first Rumble spot. How I don't think it could have come off any smoother.
It was so clean.
Yeah. Clean is my favorite word to describe.
But then you had this
hardcore
other
shapes.
one. It was like a backflip.
Oh, you saw the IG post.
Yeah.
Man.
That one would have been so good.
When I got signed back and I knew I was going to be in the Rumble, I was trying to think of something that could one up what I did the first time. And that backflip spot, first of all, is like shades of Ocean's 11 a little bit. Remember when the guy is inside the thing, they put it in the safe and he gets out and he has to do a backflip and lands sitting?
Yeah.
So it was that same maneuver, but you have to clear, I think I would have had to clear 11 to 12 feet depending on how they set up the ring.
Man.
And I trained that at the gym a lot because it's basically like throwing a whip back or a back handspring in the air because you have to travel so much further than up. I'm a nerd about movement. So.
Clearly. Well, that's also why you're so good at what you do.
But I specifically trained it and like inched it back because like naturally if you're backflipping from that angle, you go up more. And it's not proper technique to go that far back. But if you're trying to land on your butt on the guardrail, that's what you have to do.
So why didn't it happen?
It was not in the cards on that return. That was the year of Brock. And I pitched really hard for it. And I don't know. I think they thought that the story was Brock. And I said, I think Brock's the story, but why don't we have more than one story? And that made them think. And then right before they came back and said, no.
Didn't need to be a whole story. Could have just been a moment.
100%.
Well, now you know you can do it if you ever do have another Rumble spot.
Right.
What do you think's what's the moment in your career that you're the most proud of?
Let's see. Aside working with my wife and marrying her, it's so hard because like I'm thinking back over a 20-year career now, and anytime you're asked to name your favorite thing, your one thing, it's really difficult. But like things that come to mind are like working with Jeff as a tag, Eminem versus like the Hardys and singles matches, Johnny Nitro versus Jeff. Like the finish of one of our cage matches, like in 2007, I thought was still one of my favorite cage match finishes. Wrestling Ray in Cleveland, of all places, for the IC title in, I think it might have been 2009, was one of my proudest moments because when you wrestle Rey Mysterio, you think like the crowd is going to boo me no matter what. And I was really excited that the crowd was cheering for me. They're cheering for him more, but they're cheering for both of us. They're excited for the match, and having like good match with him on that day like sticks out. Lucha Underground, there's the all night long matches, which are like basically Iron Man matches. I had two, one with Ricochet, one with Willie Mack.
I think you mean Prince Puma.
True. With Prince Puma. Or Ricochet.
Oh.
I don't want to ruin wrestling for people.
No. Okay.
Santa Claus is real. Both of those, it's so tough. Like, and now I'm thinking of all the moments that I didn't name.
Oh, we're back to that again. Yeah.
Who did I leave out? It's tough. It's tough to think of one thing. I think like there's all those moments, and then there's like your career in totality, and like you make good decisions and bad decisions. And I think like staying on the path is another thing to be proud of.
Do you feel like there were several moments or matches that were building in WWE that could have maybe possibly led to the championship one day?
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like I was on that path more than once. I mean, when I was ECW champion in 2007, I feel like I was really stepping up, and like there's like a few things that happened that just someone else got moved up or it didn't work out, and everyone in the business, not everyone, but most people can say like they could have or would have or should have at one point. And for me, I've found like it's better not to dwell on like the coulda, woulda, shouldas. It's like I could have done better. I could have done worse too, though.
I've had a pretty great career.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think you've had a Hall of Fame career?
The funny thing is I don't care. I think the Hall of Fame is political and made up. Yeah, it doesn't matter that much to me.
That's interesting, because I think you've easily had a Hall of Fame career. But I still think you have so much more left in the tank.
Me too. Maybe that's why I don't care so much about Hall of Fame. Like, I feel like it's too early for that question.
Okay. I'll ask you again in like 5 years, 10 years, 15
You
years.
say like 2 years. No. No, yeah, 10 years. 10 years ago.
You're like, after I'm done being a YouTube boxer, you can
Yeah.
ask me that question.
Tail end of my YouTube boxing career. I wonder if there's a YouTube boxing Hall of Fame.
Maybe you create one.
Yeah. Dude, and then I'll definitely be in it.
How many YouTube boxing matches are you going to have this year?
At least one.
At least.
We'll see how the one goes. And then, I don't know. I mean, depending if those other guys like feel like getting knocked out or not, you know.
You're going to have to really ramp up your YouTube channel here. You know that, right?
I know.
Do you want me to link it below? Everybody watching
Yeah.
this? Okay.
Put a link below.
Okay. The link is below.
And the handle is TBD. Whatever it says in the link below.
Whatever it says there, we've decided on.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
You got to come up with this pretty quickly.
Oh, man, come on.
You have a channel right now, right?
Yeah.
But you're just not putting a ton of content on there.
Correct.
I'm going to subscribe to you right now.
All right.
Okay. Where will I find it here?
I'm going to look at my phone, too, so it looks like I'm doing something.
No. Do I just look up your real name?
At Palace of Wisdom.
Palace of Wisdom. This needs to change, everyone.
I know.
Johnny Palace of Wisdom?
No, it's just Palace of Wisdom.
No, it's not even.
It's not coming up?
No, hold on. The Palace of Wisdom.
Maybe it's the Palace of Wisdom. Is it got a the in front of it?
It's funny. The Palace of Wisdom. This is what comes up.
Oh, yeah. Remember back when Avatar... That was for the first Avatar.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah,
It's
that's great.
It's a Drew McIntyre Avatar parody.
Well, I can't find you. You'll have to send me the link.
All right.
That's actually crazy. But now that I have my phone out, I'm curious, how many of the words to your theme song do you know?
Which theme song?
Your WWE theme song.
Ooh.
That's I'm going to pull that up right now.
All right.
Hold on.
That is a fascinating question.
Well, everybody knows at least the first line or two, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, bum, 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 listen.
Now listen.
Dun, 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 dun. This ain't no make believe.
Boom.
Open your eyes and see.
Mm-hmm.
Get up.
Yeah.
Get up and follow me.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you what your future should be. Guitar. Bow. Too much wasting time. I can't waste no more. Boom, boom. It's very prophetic if you think about it.
It really is.
Right? This song was like 2007.
Yeah, it was like writing your future for you.
Wasting time this whole time. No.
Now take this. Rock on.
Take this. Oh, I kind of phased out.
I kind of, yeah, that's good. Let's change the subject now.
I was going to just try to ride that high into the next topic.
But it is really true, though.
Yeah.
Your song is very, very prophetic.
Yeah, totally. And now I'm YouTube boxing.
Hey, how come when you made your WWE return, they didn't give you the slow motion effect?
You know, I don't know. I asked for it. I think that they did, but they weren't prepared for it for some reason right away. Like weeks after the actual return,
yeah,
they started.
I remember
slow-mo
that.
again.
But when Miz introduced you and you came out, you did all the motions, but they just didn't put in the slow-mo.
Well, I thought they're going to do the slow-mo, which is why I did like the same stuff.
Yeah.
I really think it comes down to organization, even though you would think that like they would be organized enough to do the entrance that I had done there for years.
Yeah.
But no.
You don't walk through the entrances beforehand?
We did walk through it.
What's going on here?
Maybe like someone forgot where the slow-mo button was in the truck.
Jomo and slow-mo.
I know. Jomo, slow-mo, it rhymes. How could you forget? They forget stuff, though. They'll forget.
All right, when we wrap this up, we're going to fix your YouTube channel.
All right.
Okay?
Oh, last thing to plug.
Plug away.
We're talking YouTube channels. This Chic shirt that I got on was given to me by the Iron Sheik's daughter. It's on Roots of Fight. But she gave it to me when I was at her house in Atlanta getting voiceover for the Iron Sheik Massacre, which is a horror short comedy that Ty and I wrote on our honeymoon. It's now won 3 film festivals. The LA Film Festival, Georgia Comedy Film Festival, and GainesCon Film Festival in Gainesville. It's
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's not
great.
it's not out publicly yet. It's still playing in festivals, but it will be sometime soon. And if you like wrestling or horror or comedy or the Iron Sheik or all of it or just any one of those things, you'll dig this.
I love your love of filmmaking.
Yeah, I feel like I get really passionate about stuff, and then I just go really far down whatever rabbit hole that is.
Do you feel like when you first went down that rabbit hole, you were like, all right, if I put enough time, money, energy into this, this could definitely become something?
I majored in film in college, and I still think that. I feel like it's not like an impossible thing. It's just cracking like the business model and into the profession. And I believe I know how to write, produce, direct a professional product that could air on TV or be in a movie theater. It would be expensive though.
So that's where your passion lies? It's not in acting? It's in the writing, producing, directing of it?
Storytelling. It's a good catch.
Because you are so good on camera. Like the last time I interviewed you was for your film with Ziggler.
Yeah, that's right.
It was
The Speed of Time.
so great.
That thing won I think that thing won 10 film festivals.
You're such a star in that movie too. Because I think that, and I'm guilty of this myself, I've been in a few very, very small things. Don't look them up.
I'm gonna look them up.
I'm not a great actor because I haven't been doing it for very long. It's so clear when you do it, you get the subtleties of like what being a good actor is all about.
Honestly, like what you just said is exactly how I got good at acting. I started taking it seriously when I left in 2012 and was not good for a long time. But incremental work leads to incremental improvement. And I still, even through the pandemic, I would Zoom my acting coach from Florida because he wasn't seeing people in person. And literally at least once a week, have like an hour session with my acting coach. I still do it now. And I think there's so much overlap into wrestling, but outside of that, it's something I'm passionate about.
I moved out here almost 3 years ago, and I was taking some acting classes before I moved out here and then taking some when I moved out here. And so many of my friends that moved out here, I just watched them struggle, and it made me go, I'll stick to YouTube and podcasting and interviews and hosting because I've got a background in that.
Storytelling. You're storytelling?
I'm definitely storytelling.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
I'd rather be telling the stories that I'm creating, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I just watch so many of them fall on their face or like put all their rent on credit cards, and I'm like, I'd rather not do that.
It sucks because I mean, I mean, when I first started going to acting classes, I can't tell you how many people like I thought like this guy's a really good actor, or this woman is fantastic. And 5 years, 10 years later, they moved back to where they're from, or they gave up. Not all of them. Some of them are stars.
Yeah.
But so many people that were so good, like it just the demand from people who want to be actors is higher than the amount of actual jobs in the industry there are.
I really think though that acting is just it's a game of just continuing on, and like you got to keep doing it because there's you could act till you're 120.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people that get into it and they're a year in and they're not getting booked. They're 2 years in and they've got, they've barely booked anything. 5, 10, 15 years in. Eventually they just go, I can't live like this.
Yeah. I mean, 100% that's true. And I can't live like this is real too. Cause
especially
how long are you going to put your life on hold?
Yeah, and how long
waiting for something?
How long are you gonna, or how much further into debt are you gonna keep going?
Yeah, like you can't like sustain yourself. Are you like, and what are you giving up by doing that? Like potentially like getting married, starting a career.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the career that's like your passion or your dream.
Yeah.
Like if you put off having a career for 15 years, like when you're gonna go to graduate school and like start your career when you're 40.
Yeah.
I mean, or never. It's a big trade-off.
I do think though that if you put enough time and energy and money into it, like we just talked about, that one commercial will lead to 2 commercials, which will lead to a national commercial, which will lead to getting picked up for another cycle, which leads to maybe not being in credit card debt. And I do think that path is there. It's just you've got to take a lot of swings.
100%. A buddy of mine who's a wrestling fan, Nick Searcy, is really inspiring when you look at his acting career trajectory, because he bootstrapped it, like auditioned, and it's not like he didn't book anything, but he didn't land the number 2 role on Justified until he'd been acting for like 35 years. And like he even dabbled with like becoming a professional wrestling manager for a while, but like he was struggling that whole time, like booking things here and there, but not like enough to like buy a house and live comfortably. Like he was hustling.
Yeah. How are you going to get a mortgage when...
And it worked for him.
Yeah. Wow.
But it doesn't work for everybody.
But I think that also goes back to what I was just saying of like, it's just a super long game. Like, I think that everybody's going to get their break. I really, truly believe if you put the time and the effort in, every actor's going to get their break. For some people, it might be in 6 months. For some people, it might be in 26 years.
That's the hardest thing, because like in your acting class or among your friend group, like you're going to have that one friend or two that like, I auditioned for like Mission Impossible. I booked it. I'm in Mission Impossible. Now I booked another 2, 3, 4, 5 movies. Yeah. And you're thinking like, what did I do wrong? And it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just that opportunities come at different times. Yeah,
or like you've been up for 7 co-stars on network shows, and then your buddy who just started the acting class just booked one, and you're like, what the heck?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so good to catch up with you. Yeah. I end every conversation talking about gratitude. I don't think I was doing this when we did our last interview.
No, I've got a good challenge for you then. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, I wake up every day, I say out loud 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I do it before I go to bed too.
My acting coach is a strong advocate against this.
Okay. Oh boy.
He recommended that I start keeping a rage journal.
Instead
of a gratitude journal, especially when you're in the pro wrestling business, because personally, like I tend to be too nice. And his line of thinking was, instead of saying things that you're grateful for, think of the things that make you angry.
Wow.
Because you might need to dip into that. And that's a personal thing that I do
acting,
sometimes.
I see.
Yeah, for acting, or think about professional wrestling. I mean, basically you're acting, but everything is very confrontational, and you need to be able to tap into that anger and rage.
Maybe I'd be a better actor if I started doing that.
You definitely would be less happy.
Smile a lot less.
You'd probably be really miserable.
Well,
and you'd make people around you miserable.
For the sake of this interview and the sake of this exercise,
we can go back to gratitude.
What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
Let's see. Number 1, my wife. And it sounds cliche, but we met while I was older, and ready to meet someone, ready to have like a partner to share my life with. And I'd gotten to the point where I started to worry that maybe it wouldn't happen for me. And when I met her, I was excited. And then when we got married, I was more excited. And I still like wake up and look next to me and am really grateful. One. Two, my family. I have the best family. They are so supporting and loving and smart. I feel like they level me up to take the good as it gets compliment that Jack Nicholson gave. They make me want to be a better person. Three, let's see, my health. I feel really lucky to be able to do the things that I want physically, considering I've been in the wrestling business for 21 years. I click and my back hurts and my hips are tight a lot of times, but I feel like with my knowledge of working out, I can work through that and it doesn't affect like the way that I play with my nieces and nephews and like boxing or parkour or any of the things that I like to do.
Well, there we go. Those are three great things. Johnny.
Wait a minute. You didn't give your three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm grateful for my health always. Grateful for my wife, who I'm recently married now.
Wait a minute. I went first. You're saying the same thing.
I mean, this is what I do every day, though. Okay, I do this every day.
Okay.
And I'm going to lump in like just the people that I love in that second category, my wife and my family, and grateful for all of their health as well. And I'm just grateful for opportunities. Like I'm grateful that we live in a time
That's a good one.
where anything is possible. Like anything is truly possible if you point yourself in that direction. Like you're a YouTube boxer now because of the time that we live in.
I'm like laughing at it. And like, think of how crazy that is.
It's all crazy.
Like after like a 20-year plus wrestling career, I decided to be a YouTube boxer.
And you're going to be the most shredded one.
You know what? Goddamn right. I'm going to be the most shredded YouTube boxer in YouTube boxing history. But it's really fun and interesting and bizarre. And I like all those things.
Creator Clash 2.
Yep. April 15th, Tampa, Florida. Creator Clash 2. R.I.P. Harley, or should I say D.R.I.P.? Drip, drip.
That's good. Thank you, sir.
Next time, let's go over the three things we're angry at. Next interview.
We'll do that when we work out together.
Deal.
Okay.